whenever you see entire code is written, you get confused that why they're using this type of brackets and why they're using this type of dots and everything. So you get confused because you don't know the syntax rules. So that is one of the reasons. Syntax rules is one of the most important topic. We are referencing out everything with English language. I'll start with a topic and an essay for you guys to understand it better. Here you can see that we have a first syllable of this topic, which is a capital one. Once the sentence is closed, we are ending that sentence with a comma. Once the entire sentence is closed, we are using a dot over here. This is one of the rules that you guys follow whenever you are writing something. As you can see over here, we have a question over here. Whenever you see a question paper, they just write question number 1, and after that they end the question with a question mark. Whenever you have written your answer, when you have semi-sentences, you separate that with a comma. Once the entire answer is done, you end that statement with a dot, right? Whenever you are writing code, you have to initialize it by saying it, this is a variable. Just like they have initializing by saying that this is question number 1. For that, we are using like a variable over here, because Dart compiler will needs to know that what are you actually writing, is this a variable or what? So you have to provide that basic value over there. So this is a variable, and I have given it a name. And after that, if you see over here, we have single quotes over here. And in that single quotes, this is one of the rules. Whenever you're writing a string or a word, you have to use a single quotes or double quotes. In that quotes only, you can write the code, whatever the word that you wanted to write. And after that, we are ending that statement with a semicolon. So this is one of the rules that you have to remember. You see over here, we have one topic which is written over here. So what type of naming method that we are using? Because first syllable of this word is a capital one, and the second syllable of the second word is also a capital one. What do we call this type of naming method? If you guessed it right, this is a Pascal naming method. If you know that, we have one more naming method as well. Whenever you see that the first letter of a word is a small one, and after that the sub letter word is a capital one, you say that this looks more like a camel case letter, right? Because it looks like a head and it looks like a back. Whenever you are defining a class, you have to use the Pascal naming method. So whenever you are writing a function, you have to use a camel case naming method as well. How do you space out something? Whenever you are writing a function or a class, you have to use underscore in order to give a space for something, because this is how you space something out. You cannot just directly give it a space, because this is one of the syntax rules that you have to follow. You have seen many symbols which we use, and why isn't it important for us to remember that symbols as well? So whenever you see open and close parenthesis, you know that this is a context. Whenever we wanted to have a function which can only take string as a parameter, so it cannot take an integer as a parameter. So we are limiting our function, like here if I write that variable and after that did not provide any other value like an int or something, so this function will only take string variables, not an integer value. So we are limiting, whenever we are limiting something out, we are using that open and close parenthesis. So list has been assigned with a brackets, open and close brackets. You have to initializing by saying this is a list, and after that open and close brackets. Whenever you define a set, you have to use set by initializing saying this is a set, and after that curly brackets. Whenever you are defining a map, you have to use brackets and after that curly brackets, because map takes two parameters. One is a key and another one is a value. How do you write a function? For example, you want your function to do something. It can return something out or it cannot return something out. For that's the reason you use void. When it doesn't return something out, you give it a name of void, which is an empty function which does nothing but the thing that you tell it to do. Okay. So every program will have main function. You have multiple functions, and you wanted to name your function something like, you can name your function whatever you want, and after that you can give your function parameters that the function have to follow by opening up this open and close parenthesis. And over here, by opening up the brackets, you actually write the code what your function have to do. Okay. So this is one of the rules that you guys have to follow whenever you are writing a function. How do you write a class? For example, you initializing by saying it, this is a class, and after that give it a name, whatever you wanted to give. As you can see over here, whenever we are using space, we are using a underscore, and after that we don't have any parentheses over here, because class could have hundreds of methods. So that's the reason it doesn't take any parameters. So that's the reason we are using this curly brackets, and in over here you are actually writing the code whatever you wanted to write. So this is how you write a class, this is how you write a function. So basically this is how you write something whenever you wanted to write.